You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
Whether you're a chef or just love going to restaurants, you know the best ingredients are everything. West Home is working with the land to create nature-led Australian Wagyu. Learn more at westhome.com.
Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and welcome to Pizza Quest. I'm here with Siler Chapman, an old friend. You've been on many times, Si, and welcome back to Pizza Quest. You are world champion. You are part of the World Pizza Champion team, but you're also now this year a new world champion. So, can you tell me about what that's all about? What did you just win?
So I won the Americano or the Caputo Cup Americana division in Italy. There in I'm going blank now that it's so hot over here.
Yeah, you're right. One of the hottest days of the year here in Charlotte. And
we won in Naples, and this was Peter, by far the biggest award that I've ever won, because I've been known as the acrobatic kid, right? And doing acrobatics, I've got my 3 world titles in the acrobatic division. But this being a cooking division, it only took me 22 years to get it, but I got it, and I'm super excited. So
that's kind of one of the cool things, the evolution of the World Pizza Champions team, which started at least 20 years ago. And you were just a kid. You were one of the early members of the team with Tony Gemignani as your sort of mentor and guide, as he's been for many others. I know some of the other friends of Pizza Quest, like Leo Spazzeri, goes back to those early days with you. So we talked about that. But in those days, the World Pizza Champions were mostly doing acrobatics and doing, kind of performance stuff with pizza. And now those members are now all starting to win, championships for their pizzas, the pizzas themselves. The whole game is, in other words, and everybody's raised their game.
Well, and it's funny because I think it was in 2006 or 2007, Tony came to us all and said, okay, guys, you better start learning how to cook, because this is where it's going to be next. We got to quit being the acrobatics, and we got to become chefs and really elevate our game to that aspect. And I've always been working on the craft and always trying to get better. I mean, I've been working with you on, we've talked about mixing flours for a long time. Even on Perfecting Pizza, we've talked about it, and, where that's going. And, so everybody for the last 5-6 years, the dough process and what people are doing is just phenomenal. And so it's so hard to compete now, you never know. But the dough was perfect for me. Everything turned out ecstatic. So I'm super excited.
The actual pizza. So you're in Naples. You're in this worldwide pizza competition called the Caputo Cup. And you were in a particular division. What was it? The classic American division?
Yeah, the Americano division.
Americano. So what defines that? By the way, for those, some of you are watching this on our Zoom version, some are listening on the audio. Those who can't see, Siler's standing in front of a wood-fired oven on the hottest day of the year in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's about 100 degrees today, not counting the way it actually feels, which is about 110, and you're sweating like crazy. You stand in front of an oven. Are you getting ready to fire up for work today? You got
so we're doing a corporate event out here in Charlotte today at one of the big warehouses, and we'll end up feeding people. It's going to be a good time, and but it's hot,
You're in your mobile rig, which we've had you on before, coming from your mobile oven, and you've got a few trucks, I think, that are out there. But let's get back to the pizza. Then I want to find out where it's going, because I know you've got some new irons in the fire, so we want to hear about that. But let's go back to that pizza. So what was the actual pizza that you made? Can you describe it for us?
Yeah, so in our book that we just came out with, all the World Pizza Champions came together and we did a book. We're trying to be like you.
Yeah, what's the name of that? What's the name of that?
It's called Pursuit of Pizza. And I did the honey pie, which we're known for. King of Fire is known for our honey pie, which is a pepperoni, red pepper flakes, and then we drizzle local honey on here. And so everybody picks on me about my local honey too, but it comes from our local distributor. So I just want to be clear on that, because everybody's laughing at me in the background over here. So, but we ended up, I did that last year at the Caputo Cup and came in fifth. And I was like, you know what? They really liked it. But I wanted to elevate my dough a little bit. So I did a 72% hydration on my dough. I did 3% salt. And I let, I did an auto lease while I was there too. But the room, it was 90 some degrees in Italy. The room was so hot. So I was really worried that it was going to blow out almost. And it was super wet. And so I kind of just kept doing folds on it and then let it like just sit for about 4.5, 5 hours and, cool in a cooler. And then ended up, I finally bought it and let it sit for 24 hours. But I did use a pulley starter. So to help, get that fermentation going. So
let me recap that for listeners, because we've got a lot of people who are listening who are making pizza makers, either amateur enthusiasts versus professionals, but also pros. Everybody's trying to find the techniques that are going to get them to the next level. So first of all, what kind of flour did you use?
I used the Caputo Americano.
So that's a particular type of Caputo flour. We've talked about that in previous shows. That was specifically designed by the Caputo company in Italy for use in these American style pizzas. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And if people, are wondering, okay, what's that like? Is it comparable to kind of like a King Arthur flour or a bread flour, would you say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely got the high protein in it. And then I feel like it's a cleaner. It doesn't have a ton of ingredients in it. It's very clean. It doesn't have a lot of additives, which is really
a higher protein flour than the regular 00 pizza
flour. Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
You got that. And then you talked about hydration. So you got 72%. What are you typically working at then? You up the
So like for King of Fire, we're running about 68%. So so we definitely went up.
Yeah.
From our typical.
So trickier to handle?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super wet, tacky. You know what I mean?
Also contributed to this great performance that you got in the competition itself.
That's right. And it was so and in the competition I did upside down sauce. So I did the cheese first.
Wow.
And so this pie I call it the honey pie 2.0. So we added bacon. One of my district manager, Caitlin, she loves putting bacon on hers. And I was like, you know what, I want to try it, and I loved it. And I was like, you know what, let's go. So
bacon and pepperoni, or bacon and pepperoni?
No. So we did pepperoni, bacon, a little red pepper flakes, and then we brought honey from the States all the way over to Naples, because the honey over there is totally different profile. It's not as sweet. It's probably a lot better for you over there, but I wanted something that's going to bring some heat, but at the same time have that sweetness that we were looking for.
Interesting. So did anyone comment over there on the honey itself? People noticed that it was a very...
Oh, yeah. People were like, why did you put honey on a pizza? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, what are you doing? So, but it worked beautifully. It was perfect.
So, okay. So now you mentioned something about fermentation. Now we're getting kind of down into the weeds here on pizza dough. What I heard, if I heard you right, you did everything from using a pre-ferment, a Polish pre-ferment, like so sponge. So you get there, plus high hydration, plus long fermentation and overnight fermentation. So a lot of different fermentation steps, right, to get you to the final product.
Correct.
And 3% salt, which is higher than, a lot of recipes.
Oh, yeah. It really did, yeah.
You think that the extra salt added helped to control the fermentation in that hot weather?
Yeah, for sure. It helped a lot.
Interesting. So in other words, this is a dough in which you're pushing the envelope out of your own comfort zone, even, And had you practiced with this particular dough before you got over, or did you just decide?
No, we did. I practiced with it, but I wasn't expecting it to be as wet over there. But for some reason, it was super, super wet, and I don't know, did the scale mess up or not? But no, it turned out really, really well, and it was hot.
The question is, can you do it again? Right? Can you
Listen, that was a once in a million, when everything lines up perfect, that's what happens,
Sometimes the magic just happens. Do you make that pizza now, on the truck on King of Fire?
Yeah, we're going to roll a new menu out next month, and we're going to start promoting that pizza specifically that way.
What would you say it was about the winning pizza that either from your judges' comments or from the reaction to, in the audience, What was it that put you over the top and got you the gold medal?
Well, I think it was the combination of the dough was really fantastic. It had no flop, right? It had great structure. It was nice and crispy on the outside, but nice and soft, like a pillow inside. But what was really cool is I actually put toppings on it that were Americanized, right? A lot of people were very all over the board, right? And I think just sticking to the basics of what makes a good American pie is what we stuck to, and we added a little flair with the red pepper flakes and the honey. I mean, if anybody's listening and never tried that, guys, go do it tonight. You'll put honey on everything after that. So it's amazing.
It's amazing how hot honey has become a very big thing in the pizza world. And 5-7 years ago, before Mike's hot honey kind of became the industry standard, no, people didn't even think about it. Now everybody's
right.
What do you think it is about this combination of honey and pizza, especially when there's meat involved, that makes it so good?
Well, I think it's just bringing that little extra sweetness, right? Because it doesn't taste like honey when you're actually eating it. It just brings a flair of sweetness. And us Americans, unfortunately, we love sweets, right? So that on your favorite food, you can't go wrong, right? And honey pairs very well with pepperoni and sausage, bacon. The bacon gave it a little bit more saltiness. So you had that extra little bit of hump and salt, and so that was really nice too.
Well, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, number one, you've got a dough that's on the higher end of the salt content. Then you've got the bacon on top of the pepperoni, so there's a lot of salt there. Do you think that in a competition that judges, because they're tasting so many different pizzas, that sometimes you have to push it beyond what's normally done in order to get their attention, because their palates are fatiguing from all the tasting?
That's right. Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel so bad for those judges. I mean, they're sitting there eating hundreds of those slices of pizza, It's like...
listeners are saying, you don't feel bad for them. I want to be one of those judges,
Right. And you used to do that all the time, didn't you?
Yeah, and I've done it, and I can tell you, I agree that, it sounds like a lot of fun until you get to like the 30th pizza and you're going, what am I doing?
Yes. And, I did the calzone in Northeast Pizza and Pasta once. I did the calzone as a judge. Holy smokes. I was like, I've never eaten so much food in my life.
I remember seeing you there, we talked about it. Well, that's so congratulations, number one. I think that's awesome that you nailed it, and have kind of like matched now you've got bookends. You've got your acrobatic medals, and now you've got your pizza medals. Where does it go from here? Because King of Fire, which you've been doing now, this mobile pizza business for a number of years. You used to have a brick and mortar place when I first met you, and then you went to mobile. And then the mobile, of course, you were seeing a wood-fired oven behind you. When you made the pizza in the competition, did you bake it in a wood-fire oven? And
so I did. I actually did it in a Pizza Master, and we did our temperature was like 565 when I did it in the Pizza Master. But in our wood-fired, so like when you come to King of Fire, we do more Americanized wood-fired pizzas instead of Neapolitan or Neapolitan. So we do slow the ovens down to around that 600, 650.
We're going to take a little break here, and we'll reload, and we'll get Siler back live and happening. And we'll take a break now. Join us in the second part of our conversation with world champion Siler Chapman from King of Fire. I'm in Charlotte. He's in Charlotte, but he's on the other side of town. And so we'll be back in just 1 second.
In Northern Australia, there's a different approach to raising high-quality beef. Westholme looks after a sweeping stretch of territory from Brisbane to Darwin, with a climate as varied as the landscape. Wet seasons in the summer, dry seasons in between, every few hundred miles a different terrain, from lush wetlands and grassy plains to watering holes and ancient rocky land features. Westholme raises Wagyu beef, but there's a saying around Westholme that the real job is to grow grass, meaning that if they take care of the land, the rest will take care of itself. Cattle are happier when they have the freedom to forage and explore, so Westholme ensures they can roam wild, foraging at will for the first 2 to 3 years of their lives. Their cows graze on native grasses like Mitchell grass, which is found only in Australia, along with dozens of other plants, herbs, and seasonal legumes. Westhome's team of rangeland experts and nature managers use a variety of tools to monitor and respond to the welfare of the environment, like satellites that assess grass health and on-the-ground research. The result is signature Australian Wagyu, built on a genetic lineage tracing back to Japan, imbued with the terroir of this changing landscape, and a flavor that complements every cuisine. Westholme believes that when nature leads, flavor follows. Learn more and experience the difference for yourself at westhome.com.
Welcome back to part 2 with Siler Chapman. A second ago, I know that where you're working is so hot that your phone actually heated up and froze. And so your phone is now sitting, on some cold water, on a cold bottle of water to cool it down. And you're back. Thank you. I know that I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing you sweating like, as we would say, and back up east, we'd say, schwitzen like a pig, But
That's it. But Peter, we were talking about like what's next, right? Like,
yeah, because you got some big plans. I know there's some big things happening for King of Fire.
Yeah, so King of Fire has sold its second franchise now. The second one's actually going to be a brick and mortar in downtown Charlotte. It's going to be more of like a quick casual, like you walk up, you order, you go sit down, they cook it, and we're actually going to have a pizza master in this one, and cook it very, very quick. 3-4 minute bake times, and that's the great thing about Pizza Master, the versatility. We can duplicate the product that we're doing on the wood fire trucks just the same way in the Pizza Master.
So where, for those people in this area, where in downtown Charlotte will that be?
It's going to be in the Green, which is right across from the convention center there in the Green.
Yeah, that's a good area, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're literally next door to the Sandwich Club. We're next door to them.
So you called it a franchise. What does that mean? It's that you actually have given franchise rights to somebody else to operate it? You're not going to be the operator.
I will not be the operating owner there. We have someone in place that bought the rights for the franchise, and we also have a trailer franchise. His name's Max, and he's running downtown, like South End, downtown, and Noda for the Charlotte area. He bought all the rights for that.
So the King of Fire brand is going to be expanded through these franchise operators. What does that take? I know that Tony Gimignani talked about that as well, that he's franchised his Slice House concept. What does that mean when you go to franchise? What are their obligations back and forth?
Yeah, it's going to be really, it's a lot. We have a due diligence to do for our franchisees. We've got to, make sure that we're giving them all the right materials, everything literally to be successful. We have to make sure they're going to be able to operate in a successful market. I think, and I'm very confident when I can say that we've dominated the mobile game with our trucks.
Yeah.
And understanding how to book events and how to get the right events, and hey, how do we still go to neighborhoods when other food trucks unfortunately can't do well in neighborhoods? We're the love of pizza, right? We've been able to still have that great success in neighborhoods and business parks, and now we're doing, we've already got on the books 132 weddings this year. So just the wedding game alone is phenomenal. So we've created this model that it'd be very easy to, we're going to create a little King of Fire University that they come and train with us for about 8 weeks and learn everything. And, they got to respect the craft, right? As Tony's always said, we've got to show them why the dough does what it does. And by the way, how do you adapt in extremely hot temperatures all the way to snow on the ground, right?
What about the truck itself? Do you provide that? Do they buy it? How do they get one of those?
So we're going to have a lease-to-own program. So for turnkey, you'll be able to have a trailer. We're going to have different models. Obviously, we'll have like the Fire Within model that we're looking at. We're also talking to Mara Forney on their mobile trailers. So we're looking at that whole dynamics of having, Model A, Model B, Model C, because let's take Charleston for an example. It's going to be hard to have a truck and trailer down in Charleston with some of those streets, right? So we got to build a food truck, right, and have that model. So we have a couple of those things in the pipeline right now to be able to show, future franchisees, hey, this is the different models. Here's what we think would fit best in your town, and that's kind of how we're going about it.
So you basically provide a lot of that, all that background research and kind of design for them the truck that they should have when you put them into business. And then,
Correct.
in exchange for which, what do they do? What's their obligation back to you, to protect the brand and to be sure you that they are respecting the craft?
Yeah, no, for sure. So we're going to make sure that they're using, all our ingredients. Everything's going to be the same. We've got systems in place for that. But the biggest thing is, there'll be a royalty. We're doing something small at $350 a week, all the way down to 6%, whichever is greater, right? So because if we have a brick and mortar, they could do $2 million, right? So we're not gonna. We need to be able to have the support team to be able to help them with that as well, right? So, and I didn't bring this up, but we're building a 4,500 square foot restaurant in Clover, South Carolina, where we're going to do 5 different styles of pizza. So I think I'm building this restaurant more as the chef in me, wanting to showcase all the different styles. So think of Detroit. We're going to do Detroit's. We're going to do Grandma's. I want to do Chicago Cracker Thin. Everybody calls it the tavern style almost. Yeah. And then we're going to do a true New York style, and then our American wood-fired pizza as well. So we'll have multiple ovens, and I really want to showcase that and have a beautiful dine-in, sit down, nice cocktails. I'm going to actually have Niles Peacock come out and help us with that with our cocktail menu.
Well, this one's going to be your own. It's not going to be a franchise model. The Clover, by the way, for those who are listening, it's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Charlotte, southwest of Charlotte, and it's a nice community. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple NFL players that came out of Clover, some great football. But so you're going to be there. Will you be there actually physically present then at that store?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. As we get it open and get running. I mean, obviously we'll have a store manager and stuff like that, but I think this will be a great place for me to keep growing in the chef world and seeing what we can come up with that's unique and different than what everybody else is doing.
Like the showcase location for you, doing like what Tony does at his Pizza Napolitana in San Francisco, making
absolutely
style. You doing kind of following that blueprint of his of having different ovens for different purposes and things like that?
Correct. And we're going to do, and that's where I really want to mix flours and really come up with some different stuff that nobody else is doing right now.
Interesting. Well, for 20 years, you've been, in a sense, you're one of the early proteges of Tony Gimignani, and there's a lot of his proteges now who are out there doing at their own shops, Laura Meyer, others that are out there, making a name for themselves after kind of, learning, at the foot of the master. And so it sounds like you're kind of, on that path now.
That's right. Yeah. And so I'm excited about that. It's, I think we're over the hump of, I love mobile and mobile's great, but I also wanted something that it's hard to do different styles out of a mobile unit, right? And so I think this will allow me to get that fixed and have fun with it.
So your mobile business will continue. You'll still be taking weddings and going to locations and being, out there on the streets doing it. Will you be competing against your own franchisees in some of these territories?
No. So, and I've always run Pizza Expo over there at the World Pizza Games with Ken and Michael and Joe. And, now it's at a point where I've never been able to compete in Vegas, right? So I can't do that, but I'm hoping that I can do kind of like what Tony's done, is where his guys are out and ladies. I mean, he's got some amazing chefs that are coming up there and cooking, and I want to be able to bring a team like Caliente's does. Nick always brings the largest teams over there. So I think eventually we'll be able to have a King of Fire team like that. So that's the goal.
You're going to have your proteges now who are going to compete on your behalf and on behalf of the brand and what they've learned from you. So this is a big step in your evolution of an
right. Yeah, and I think my next step is Paglia and definitely more pan pizzas. I
Yeah.
really want to master that side of things. I've showcased what we could do, on the Americana side,
Yeah.
and only because I get to only really get to compete in Italy. That's where I got to go, and Lars and Leah, they do such a good job, and Christina, Lars's wife, they're amazing at Roman pizza, right? Roman
Right.
style, and so that's one style I really want to learn, and be able to one day showcase that at the restaurant as well. So
Yeah,
we're,
there's
we're
opportunity there for sure. That's an area that's just still growing in the United States.
absolutely, yeah, for sure. And I think that would be a great add-on to our restaurant. It won't be the main focus, but if I can do well in a competition, and learn that style, I think that's where I need to head next.
I know that a few years ago we had you on. We talked about one of your other projects that you and Michael Shepard, launched, which was perfecting pizza, and it was you basically consulting with new operators on how to get into the game. Are you still doing that? Are you still?
Yeah, absolutely. It's bigger than ever now. It's for $24 a month, you can have unlimited resources for that. So like from how-to videos all the way down to employee handbooks, right? So Tony and Nick and Scott Anthony actually are partners now in that. And
Michael's
so
still
that's
doing it?
no, Michael's retired now and enjoying life. So
The dream,
uh,
everyone's dream.
yeah, so he's having a good time. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, so one final question, and we'll get you out on this because I know you've got a big job coming up today. Um, Over the years now, and I've known you now for 20 plus years, and you were really, when you started, you were a kid. I mean, on other episodes, you've talked about how you started out. I think you got into pizza because you got injured, right? You were a CrossFit athlete of some sort, and then you
yeah, we
break your
did pro motocross. Yeah.
so you got, this was like your plan B, so to speak, and now you've gone all in. But you've had your ups, your downs, your successes, your learning curve experiences. Can you talk a little bit about the things that you learned about, this game that you pass on through perfecting pizza and other consulting that you do and the training that you do with the new proteges and the new generation of people that are going to keep your legacy going? What are the main life lessons and business lessons that you think are important for people to know?
You know, um, that's a great question. So at the end of the day, my biggest thing is know your numbers, right? You got to know your numbers,
Wow.
and the reason is we're all good chefs at some point. Everybody can make a great pizza, but if you don't understand how to actually put the money in the bank and keep it there, then you're going to be out of business in 4 or 5 years, right? And so I think the biggest thing is I've been on the highest level all the way to lost $2 million one year. So I've seen it all, and understanding to save for the rainy day is definitely a thing that people really getting into it need to understand. Where does every penny go? How to negotiate with your vendors properly to get the best deal, and don't be scared to charge for a phenomenal product. But here goes the back end of that open-end question is you've got to make a phenomenal pizza today. Nothing can be average. Today, there's too many pizza places opening up, getting a pizza education. There's phenomenal classes all over the world that will teach you how to make phenomenal pizzas.
Yeah.
So again, getting your craft down pat before you spend 600,000-700,000 to open a restaurant or spend $100,000 opening up a mobile unit, even for a pop-up, just because you love doing it and you've got four unis out under a tent. So many people are starting that way, and that is phenomenal because that's keeping cash in the bank. It's no overhead, right? And they're still doing what they love. So how do you turn that now into a true business and charge? But your pizza can't be average. Not in today's time. You could have got away with it, Peter, 10 years ago, having an average pizza, but you got to be phenomenal. So I think bringing business and your creativity in pizza making are two of the biggest things that you gotta win on both sides.
So I think that know your numbers is a really Tony's phrase is respect the craft. You can have on your box. You can go know the numbers.
Know the numbers, yes.
What's the
Because I help a lot of food trucks out that do other food not just pizza, right? And
Yeah.
the biggest thing is they don't know what their plates cost. They don't know what that cost of that plate is. And that's scary because they're just hoping, and then they look at their bank account 30 days later and their accountant said, you made money or you didn't make money, you know? I want to know today, did I make money after yesterday? You know, and that's knowing your numbers every penny to the dollar, what it takes you to run.
Do that. So you can't just do all of this yourself. You're opening restaurants. You're going to be a chef. You're going to be on the truck. You're booking things. Talk about your team. Who handles the numbers? Who watches over the business side and give?
So, yeah, unfortunately, it was always me on the numbers. The managers put their numbers in, and then we digest them in the back, you know, back at home kind of thing, right? But I just hired a new CFO. That's actually going to help us even grow that side of being better because the accounting's gotten out of control with having so many food trucks, and
Yeah, you got
you know, got a lot of deposits for weddings, and so it gets a little out of control. So we invested this year in saying, hey, I got to relieve a little stress from me on that side. So we did that. I have my kitchen manager. Actually, I got him working today. So he's back here.
Nice.
He actually makes the dough every day. Make sure that his dough temperature doesn't go over 75 degrees coming out of that pizza bowl. And then I have Caitlin over there in the corner. She's my district manager. She oversees everything. Pretty much holds the fort down, and then she gets mad at me when we have to run trucks like this in the heat today. So
Yeah, right.
but,
Gotta keep them happy.
but yeah, so again, and then we have 5 other managers or 4. No, we just hired our 5th manager, and Chris, which is your nephew, is one of our managers, and we love him to death. So he's done phenomenal with this. But all those managers are responsible for one truck, one trailer. They're responsible for their numbers, getting the data in, put it in right, making sure they're running labor, running their food costs. They have to do inventory once a month, you know, stuff like that. So,
Wow. So really, I think part of the challenge that you face and everyone who's trying to expand their brand is finding great team members and employees or partners that you can bring in and who can. Well, what we used to say when I had my bakery was that the best employees are the ones who take pressure off of the boss. You got to
that's
find
right.
so your employees fall into 2 camps. They either put pressure on or they take pressure off. And if you're
That's right.
putting
That's
pressure
right.
on, then you're not helping me at all. You know?
No. And luckily we've been able to, we have a very amazing team and everybody does their roles. And we're very blessed right now, Peter. So
Well, that's
we just got to keep the momentum going, you know?
yeah, yeah.
That's the
Well,
hard thing too, you know, you got to keep the momentum going. So
yeah, but this is a lot of growth that you've achieved in the last, couple of years. So congratulations on all that. I'm going to let you get
stick
back to
momentum.
work. Yeah, I'm going to let you get back to work because I know you've got a big day here, and the temperature. I mean, it's almost 12 o'clock here in Charlotte as we're recording this, and the temperature hasn't even hit the peak yet. You know, it's
Oh yeah.
now it's supposed to go to into the hundreds. So get that ice on your own head and
Yes.
keep your dough cool. And Siler, congratulations on all you're doing. What the name of the place in Clover? When's it going to open and it will be called King of Fire?
We're going to call it King of Fire or something else that's by King of Fire. So we're still looking and thinking that through. But we're looking at October of this year. They just
October.
started construction. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let me know when you're ready to test out some of those new doughs, especially for
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
parents. Let me know. I want to come and do some tasting and
Absolutely.
we can brainstorm together. But
Well, thank you, Peter, for having me on too, man. I appreciate you guys so much over there at Pizza Quest. You are the best.
where are you going to display your gold medal?
We're going to have one for each of the stores, and then I'm working on we're coming up something with the truck, so we just got to figure it out.
Awesome.
So, but it's in the office now, hanging up.
Keep it going. I love your phrase. You got to know your numbers, watch your numbers, whatever it is.
That's it. You got to know.
Get that engraved into everybody's, into everybody's minds at least. And King of Fire, we're all down. You guys are all down here where we are in Charlotte. For anybody who's traveling in the area, please, what's the best way for them to follow you?
On Instagram, King of Fire Pizza, or Facebook. Yeah.
And okay, King of Fire Pizza. You'll see, you can keep abreast of everything they're doing. And if you are coming here, let Siler know. If you're not in this area, but you're coming, let him know so that you can find out where he's going to be and get on their mailing list. I get every week, I get a ding on where you're going to be during the next couple of days. So,
yeah.
All right, man. Great to see you again. You're not the kid anymore.
I know, I'm getting old, man. I got some grades coming in now, you know.
I see it in your beard. But now you've gone from being the startup guy to being the mentor of the next generation. So
that's great. So that's what we're here for.
That's your legacy work. So keep it going. Say hello to your team for me, and thank all of you for joining us on Pizza Quest today. We've been with Siler Chapman, and we'll see you all at the next episode of Pizza Quest.
Pizza Quest is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.